The world is engulfed in war, and people are desperately fleeing for their lives. To save her son, a mother hides him away. Even though she doesn't want to leave him, she knows it's his only chance to survive. After the sounds of battle fade, the boy steps outside and finds nothing but corpses. As he searches through them, he discovers his mother dead. Unable to accept it, he desperately tries to put her back together, hoping she'll wake up. But she's already gone. Sitting beside her body, he begins questioning life itself. Surrounded by death, he realizes that the meaning and value of life exist only in the human mind. Life simply exists, and eventually comes to an end. With that realization, he stands up and keeps moving. He scavenges a backpack from a corpse, collects water from a river, survives on food given by soldiers, and sleeps wherever he can. Eventually, he spends the night inside an abandoned bus, but the memories of that day continue to haunt him. The next morning, he wakes up to find a girl sitting across from him. They silently stare at each other, instinctively sensing they're carrying the same pain. Before either of them can speak, another explosion throws them back into the war. The boy grabs the girl's hand, and they escape as the bus is destroyed behind them. While running through the battlefield, he briefly questions why the world is so cruel. But when he notices the girl trembling and crying, he simply holds her hand tighter and keeps running. After reaching a safe place, the two quietly rest together. From that day on, they travel side by side. They barely speak at first. The boy shares his chocolate with her, and when he injures his foot, the girl treats his wound. Eventually, they reach a long road stretching into the distance. "Where are we going?" the girl asks. "Anywhere. This road has to end somewhere," the boy replies. The girl smiles and says the earth is round, so maybe the road never ends. The boy looks at her. Maybe. The two continue traveling together for several days. Along the way, they come across a strange man casually eating a grasshopper. The moment he notices them, he starts shouting. It's obvious the war has broken his mind. The boy instinctively feels uneasy around him, but the girl simply smiles and waves. The man happily spins around in the wind like an excited child. They continue on their way, but the girl soon realizes the man is following them. The boy knows they can't outrun him on the open plains, so all they can do is hope he isn't dangerous. Although he says that calmly, he's filled with anxiety. As night falls, they stop to rest. While the boy is drinking water, the man suddenly snatches the bottle away, buries it in the dirt, and drinks every last drop himself. When the girl offers her own water, the boy quickly stops her. He warns that if the man sees it, he'll take that bottle too. They decide not to take anything out of their bags and wait until he falls asleep before slipping away. A little later, the man walks over, pulls down his pants, and casually urinates right in front of them, leaving both of them speechless. Once night fully sets in, they quietly check that he's asleep before sneaking away. They almost escape, but a sudden explosion shakes the area, waking the man. The boy grabs the girl's hand and they run. The man chases after them, crying the entire time. He eventually catches up, grabs the girl, and breaks down in tears. Only then do they realize he isn't attacking them. He was simply terrified of being left alone. By morning, the boy prepares to continue their journey. As the girl gets up, they notice the man is still watching them. He never slept that night, afraid they would abandon him. When the two start walking again, the man quietly follows behind them. They continue down the endless road, but the boy is still determined to lose the strange man. His escape plan failed the previous night, so he decides they'll try again tonight. The only problem is food and water. If the man notices them eating or drinking, he'll take everything. To avoid the risk, the boy decides to go without food. Later, he quietly whispers a plan to the girl. While he distracts the man, she secretly takes out her water bottle. But instead of drinking it herself, she only pretends to, saving the little water they have. Once the man loses interest, she thanks the boy for covering for her. That night, the boy wakes up, hoping the man has finally fallen asleep. But he's still awake, silently watching them. The next morning, the girl looks exhausted. She insists she's fine, but the boy can tell she's pushing herself. Even so, he refuses to give up, believing that sooner or later the man will be forced to sleep. Their biggest problem now is water. Fortunately, they hear a nearby river. The man rushes toward it first, and the boy pulls the girl along. But before they reach it, she suddenly collapses from exhaustion. Her lips have become dry and cracked from dehydration. The boy immediately fills a bottle with river water and helps her drink. After a while, she regains consciousness and quietly thanks him. Nearby, the strange man is casually eating raw frogs. Seeing this, the boy catches a few frogs himself. Since the man is already full, he doesn't interfere. The boy and girl build a fire and cook the frogs. The girl notices the man refuses to come near the flames, apparently afraid of fire. Realizing this, the boy thinks they only need to wait. Eventually, the man will have to fall asleep. But even that night, he stays awake, watching them. The same thing happens the next day, and the next, and the next. Day after day, he keeps following them. Night after night, he refuses to sleep. His condition gradually worsens, yet he still forces himself to stay awake, terrified they'll leave him behind. Eventually, his body reaches its limit. One morning, while trying to follow them, he begins stumbling before finally collapsing to the ground. The boy sees this as their chance and tells the girl they should leave. But instead of walking away, she stops him. She asks if they can at least let the man stay with them while they're near the river. The boy refuses. Water is no longer a problem, but food still is. If they can't find enough to eat, the man could eventually attack them. And if they do find food, there won't be enough for all three. The boy insists this is their only chance to leave the man behind. But the girl can't bring herself to do it. Feeling sorry for him, she breaks down in tears, remembering the day her own father abandoned her. Seeing her cry, the boy gives in. The girl gently places her hand on the man's head, calming him enough to finally fall asleep. From then on, all three continue traveling together. Although the boy still doesn't trust the man, they survive by catching and eating frogs. The next day, they find a wolf feeding on a lamb. The strange man chases the wolf away and starts eating the lamb himself like a wild animal. But the moment the boy and girl continue walking, he abandons the carcass and follows them instead. That night, remembering the girl's kindness, the man finally sleeps peacefully. By morning, he's noticeably happier. He even catches and eats a butterfly while happily following them. It's clear he's becoming attached to the girl. The boy, however, only grows more cautious. Later, the man offers the girl a frog as a gift. She thanks him with a smile. Watching this, the boy becomes uneasy. For a brief moment, he imagines the man attacking and devouring the girl. The terrifying vision disappears, revealing it was only his fear getting the better of him. The next morning, the man is even more cheerful. He catches a pigeon to eat, and when the girl jokingly tells him to hurry or they'll leave him behind, he immediately runs after them. During a break, the man happily dances around before grabbing the girl's hand and dancing with her. She smiles and joins him. The boy watches from a distance, unable to shake the feeling that something is wrong. Later, they come across a field of corpses and search for useful supplies. The boy finds a lighter and secretly takes a knife after glancing at the strange man. That night, they rest beside a campfire while the man sits far away, still afraid of the flames. The girl notices the boy looks troubled. He admits that when he was alone, he didn't care whether he lived or died. But ever since they met on the bus, he's been afraid of losing someone again. The girl tells him they both have to survive. He agrees. She then says she wishes everyone's relationships could be like theirs, where nobody hurts or hates each other, and no one has to feel lonely. The boy looks at her and wonders, could a world without pain, hatred, or loneliness really exist? And if that's what she truly wants, maybe he can learn to accept the strange man too. The next morning, the three continue traveling together. That night, the boy offers the man a cooked frog, making both the man and the girl happy. By the next day, however, the man grabs the boy's food again. The girl scolds him for taking other people's things, so he quietly gives the frog back to her. As they continue their journey, the girl still dreams of a world where no one gets hurt, suffers, or feels alone. That night, under a full moon, she notices countless fireflies glowing around them. Excited, she takes the boy's hand, and the two walk together through the lights. The man wakes up and sees them holding hands. Suddenly, he rushes over, throws the boy aside, pins the girl to the ground, and begins taking off his pants. The boy immediately charges in and repeatedly stabs him with a knife before grabbing the girl's hand and running away. The man chases after them, but he accidentally steps on a landmine. The explosion blows off his legs, leaving him screaming in agony as the two escape. By morning, the boy's eye is swollen from the fight, and the girl breaks down in tears. They finally manage to escape the man. The next day, while checking on the boy's injury, the girl is suddenly struck by an arrow and collapses. Before the boy can react, he's hit by an arrow as well. A group of armed men captures them, loads them into a vehicle, and drives away. During the ride, one of the men celebrates the money they'll make from the children, while another says they don't deserve this. Their leader insists they have no choice, claiming that sacrificing a few is necessary to save many. As they talk, the vehicle heads toward a city. The armed group arrives in an abandoned city, only to realize someone has already been there. As they investigate, a sniper suddenly kills the driver. The remaining men scramble for cover, trying to locate the shooter. One is blown up by a bomb while running toward a building. Another is killed by a flamethrower trap, and when they return fire, they discover it was just a machine triggered by ropes. One by one, they're eliminated. The last surviving man stays with the children. Before making his final stand, he tells them, "When you grow up, don't become bad people." Moments later, he's killed as well. The mysterious man in a suit is revealed to be the one who wiped out the entire group. A while later, the boy wakes up inside a building. The girl tells him the suited man rescued them. The man brings them tea, and the boy thanks him. Before leaving, the man asks if they've ever killed anyone. Remembering the strange man he stabbed, the boy lies and says no. The suited man tells them not to leave the building. The children soon realize the ropes used to tie them have badly injured their legs, making it difficult to walk. The man lets them stay while they recover. That night, they finally sleep in real beds for the first time in a long while. The girl says she feels uneasy about the suited man. The boy agrees they shouldn't trust anyone so quickly, even if he saved them. When the boy asks what would have happened if they hadn't been rescued, he admits they probably would have died. The girl quietly says she's afraid of death. The boy tells her surviving this far isn't enough. They have to keep moving forward. After spending some time recovering, the man takes them to a tall building filled with surveillance monitors. He asks them to help watch the city's cameras and report anyone carrying weapons or acting suspicious through a walkie-talkie. The boy agrees. The suited man then heads to the rooftop, where he can overlook the entire city. While monitoring the cameras, the children spot a truck entering the city. The boy immediately reports its route. Recognizing the armed men as members of the same group that captured them, the suited man begins taking them out one by one, with the boy guiding him over the radio. After eliminating them all, he calmly gathers the bodies and loads them into a large drum. During dinner, the girl asks if all the armed men they saw earlier are dead. The suited man says they are, then explains his beliefs. According to him, anyone carrying a gun is prepared to take a life. By killing those people first, he's protecting future victims and bringing the world closer to peace. He reminds the children that they're alive because of him. The girl tearfully argues that they're all human and asks if there's no better way than killing. The man calmly replies that you can't protect people by doing nothing. That night, the boy secretly approaches him and asks to learn how to use a gun. The man agrees to train him the next day. The following morning, the girl refuses to help with the man's killings. Respecting her decision, he asks her to help with cooking instead, while the boy accompanies him. From then on, their days settle into a routine. The boy trains with firearms and helps clear enemy groups, while the girl cooks and waits for him to return each evening. Meanwhile, the suited man quietly coughs up blood, hinting that his health is failing. One day, the boy finds him writing a book. The man explains that the world became this way because people are controlled by their environment, memories, instincts, and information. That's why he's writing, to organize his thoughts and learn to think independently. He tells the boy that if he truly wants to protect others, he must think rationally and for himself. Later, while helping locate enemies, the boy spots one survivor hiding after the others are killed. He suggests letting the man go because he's unarmed and no longer a threat. The suited man disagrees. What matters isn't whether he's armed now, but what he intends to do next. Waiting to find out is too risky, and someone who is willing to kill once will likely do it again. Unable to argue further, the boy gives away the survivor's location. The man shoots him. From the building, the girl witnesses the killing and breaks down in tears. While the girl continues recovering, she learns that the suited man used to be a doctor who wanted to save as many lives as possible. When he asks about her dream, she simply says she wants to live peacefully with the people she cares about. She pleads with him to stop killing and travel with them instead. The man refuses. He compares humanity to an infected wound. Just as a doctor must kill bacteria to heal a patient, he believes he must eliminate dangerous people to heal the world. The girl argues that people aren't bacteria, but the man coldly replies that the value of life is subjective, and to him, there's no difference. Unable to convince him, she leaves in tears. Later, during dinner, the man asks what the children plan to do next. The boy says they'll keep moving until they find a peaceful place to settle. The man insists every road eventually ends, but the children believe they'll keep moving forward no matter what. He simply smiles and says he hopes they're right. That night, the boy tells the girl they'll leave soon. She worries about the dangerous work he's doing, but he reassures her and even compliments her cooking, making her blush. The next day, while the girl helps in the kitchen, the boy's training takes a darker turn. The suited man hands him a gun and orders him to shoot a captured prisoner. He tells the boy to aim for the chest, ignore his hesitation, and imagine the man is responsible for his mother's death. As the boy remembers his mother's murder, he finally pulls the trigger. But instead of killing the prisoner, he deliberately shoots him in the leg. He explains that the man is no longer a threat, and although he hurt others, he can't bring himself to execute someone who can't fight back. The suited man warns that sparing an enemy could one day cost him his life. Then, without hesitation, he shoots the prisoner dead himself. As they leave, he reveals the entire exercise was a test. The boy disobeyed his order and wasn't driven by revenge, proving he still hadn't become a killer. "You passed!" The realization sends a chill down the boy's spine. While cooking one day, the girl notices a missing ingredient. As she searches for it, she follows some strange marks into the basement. There, she discovers a huge food storage area and believes they'll never go hungry again. But when she opens another room, she finds dozens of hanging human corpses. Horrified, she realizes they've been eating human meat. A nearby room holds a prisoner chained up by the suited man. The prisoner admits he's killed people, but argues that the world isn't divided into simply good and evil. He begs the girl to free him, promising he's done with violence. Although she hesitates, she eventually unlocks his chains. To avoid suspicion, she tells him to pretend he's still imprisoned until nightfall. They both plan to escape that night. At dinner, the suited man compliments the meal the girl prepared, but tells her not to cook alone again. Meanwhile, the exhausted boy praises her cooking. Later that night, the girl tells the boy everything she discovered, and they decide to leave immediately. After waiting for the suited man to fall asleep, they sneak into the basement to free the prisoner. But when they open the cell, he's already gone. Before they can react, the suited man appears behind them. The frightened girl admits she released the prisoner. To their surprise, the man calmly says she did the right thing. He reveals that letting the prisoner escape was part of his plan all along. He then tells the children to take whatever they need and leave the city that very night. As the two flee, military vehicles approach the city. Leading them is the very prisoner the girl had freed, now accompanied by armed soldiers. He spots the children but orders his men to let them go. Meanwhile, the suited man watches everything from a rooftop. Looking one last time at a photo of his family, he presses a detonator. The entire city erupts in a massive explosion, killing everyone inside, including himself. The children stop and silently watch the city disappear into smoke. Then they hold each other's hands and continue their journey. The boy dreams of being surrounded by darkness. No matter how hard he runs toward the light, the darkness consumes him. He suddenly wakes up and sees the girl sleeping peacefully beside him. Watching her calm face eases his mind, and he lies back down. When she wakes up, she asks if he slept well, and the two decide to rest a little longer. As time passes, they settle into a peaceful routine. The girl gathers firewood while the boy catches fish. They cook together, eat berries along the way, admire turtles, and even joke around, with the boy pretending to be a rhinoceros using tree bark. One day, a storm forces them to camp in a tent. Sitting close together for warmth, the girl rests her head on the boy's shoulder, wishing the moment could last forever. But the next morning, everything changes. The boy comes down with a high fever. The girl desperately tries to take care of him. She cools his forehead, gathers berries, and when he's too weak to eat, she even chews the food herself before feeding it to him. Despite everything she does, his condition only gets worse, leaving her on the verge of tears. That night, she hears something outside the tent and grabs a gun. A wolf is standing just outside, ready to attack. Just as she's about to pull the trigger, a flash of lightning scares the wolf away. Relieved, she turns back to the boy, only to hear him coughing violently. The sound reminds her of the people on the bus who died from illness one by one, including her own father. Unable to stop herself, she breaks down in tears. The story shifts to the girl's past, long before she met the boy. She was traveling with her father on a bus carrying a small group of survivors, a young couple with a newborn baby, a writer, an elderly man, and the driver. They wandered from place to place, searching for supplies and trying to stay alive. When the girl asks where they're going, her father admits he doesn't know. She hopes they'll eventually find a peaceful place, and he comforts her by promising to stay with her until she grows up. Their journey takes them through areas filled with corpses, reminding them that death has become a part of everyday life. Later, the group searches abandoned houses for food, but everything has already been looted. The girl's father then tells everyone that, according to the radio, many cities have fallen and the government has completely collapsed. Realizing there's nowhere truly safe left, the group's morale sinks. That night, they share dinner together. The writer talks about enjoying journaling, while the elderly man continues coughing. When someone asks how long they can survive like this, the driver admits they only have enough food for a few more days and must keep searching. The next day, they manage to gather supplies in a city but are suddenly attacked. They barely escape the gunfire and flee in the bus. Despite the constant danger, they still cherish small moments together. The girl's father finds an old cassette tape and dances with her inside the bus. A few days later, during heavy rain, the elderly man's coughing becomes much worse. While discussing finding medicine, the writer notices strange dark spots on the old man's neck. He recognizes them as signs of a highly infectious disease he once researched. When the father asks if the old man can be saved, the writer gives a grim answer. Without doctors or proper medical equipment, his chances of surviving are almost zero. The elderly man quietly leaves the bus, knowing he'll only endanger the others. Everyone watches in silence as he walks away alone. The little girl calls out to her father, but he has no words. Even the old man breaks down in tears as the bus drives off without him. Soon after, the baby's mother realizes that if he was infected, the rest of them may have been exposed as well. The writer confirms it's possible, leaving everyone with little hope except that they were lucky enough to avoid infection. The group continues surviving from one town to another, but the constant fear begins wearing them down. One night, the woman with glasses wonders if life has any meaning at all. She says people are simply born, struggle to survive, and eventually die before breaking down in tears. Not long after, the writer also becomes infected. Knowing what's coming, he asks the driver to stop the bus and quietly gets off. As he walks away, he reflects on the ordinary life he once had, his family, his pet dog, his love of writing, bike rides, and even the small everyday moments he used to take for granted. Realizing all of it is gone forever, he leaves the group in tears. The survivors continue on until they search another abandoned house, only to find a dead couple inside. That night, the girl refuses to eat. She questions whether surviving even matters anymore. Even if they somehow reach a peaceful place, happiness would only be temporary because death eventually comes for everyone. To her, whether life is meaningful or meaningless no longer seems to matter. That night, while everyone else is asleep, the woman with glasses quietly leaves the bus. The next morning, the group finds her dead beneath a tree, with a knife beside her. She had taken her own life. The journey grows even darker. The old man's body is left for crows, the writer dies from the infection, and the woman with glasses takes her own life. Only a few survivors remain. The young mother becomes increasingly worried about her baby, and before long, she also contracts the disease. Black spots begin spreading across her arm. When the bus stops, everyone knows it's time for her to leave. Her husband refuses to accept it. Holding the driver at knife point, he begs him to keep driving to a nearby city, convinced they might still find a doctor or medicine. The driver sympathizes but refuses. He explains that if even one person on the bus is still healthy, they have a duty to protect them. The husband argues that nothing matters more than saving the person you love. In the end, the mother stops him. Through tears, she entrusts her baby to the little girl and asks her to take care of the child. The girl's father promises they will. The couple steps off the bus together, and the remaining survivors drive away, leaving them behind. Now only the girl, her father, the driver, and the baby remain. As they continue traveling, the driver hunts deer to keep everyone alive. One night, while the children sleep, the girl's father asks the driver to look after them if anything happens to him. Moments later, he starts coughing. He's infected too. As he faces his fate, he wonders if everything he has ever known will simply disappear one day, including himself and his daughter. Later, the girl asks what happens after people die. Her father admits he doesn't know, but says he hopes they'll all meet again in heaven. Determined to treasure the time he has left, he tells his daughter, "I love you." As time passes, the same black spots begin appearing on his arm, proving the disease has finally reached him as well. When the girl's father notices the black spots on his own arm, he realizes his time has come. The bus stops, and he quietly gets off, asking the driver to take care of his daughter and the baby. As he walks away, the girl runs after him, crying and begging him not to leave. She wants to go with him, but the driver holds her back. Fighting back his own tears, the father tells her to stay strong. He reminds her that the earth is round, so if she keeps moving forward, they'll meet again someday. He promises they'll see each other again and never have to say goodbye. Believing his words, the girl asks if he really promises. He smiles and says yes. The bus drives away, leaving the father alone. Clinging to the promise he made, he struggles to survive on berries and grasshoppers while the disease slowly destroys his body. Meanwhile, the girl travels with the driver, caring for the baby and waiting for the day she'll see her father again. As days pass, she stops crying, but never stops missing him. The father grows weaker with each passing day. The infection spreads across his body, and he begins wondering whether memories, feelings, and even a person's existence simply fade away with time. Eventually, he regrets making a promise he knows he can't keep. Unable to accept their final goodbye, he spends his last moments thinking of his daughter. Soon after, he dies alone. At the same time, the girl continues moving forward with the baby, still believing they'll meet again one day. The driver manages to find fuel in an abandoned hut and continues taking care of the girl and the baby. The three survive on whatever they can find, including wild mushrooms, as they travel through lands filled with corpses. One day, the girl notices the baby has started coughing. The disease has reached the child. Not long after, the baby dies, leaving the girl heartbroken. The driver comforts her, and they continue their journey. Soon after, gunfire suddenly erupts. The driver is shot, but he manages to keep the bus moving despite bleeding heavily. As his vision fades, he finally loses control of the bus. Knowing he's dying, he hugs the girl one last time before taking his final breath. The girl buries him herself. Now completely alone, she sits inside the empty bus and breaks down in tears, remembering everyone who had left her one by one. After mourning them all, she quietly lies down inside the bus. A few days later, that's where she meets the boy for the very first time. The girl wakes up to find the boy has finally recovered. Overwhelmed with relief, she bursts into tears and tightly holds his hand. Afraid of losing him, she asks, "You won't leave me alone, right?" The boy gently promises he won't. From then on, they continue their journey together, and for the first time in a long while, life begins to feel brighter. They discover a beautiful flower field, lie down together, and simply enjoy the moment. Then, gathering his courage, the boy shyly asks, "When we grow up, will you marry me?" The surprised girl happily accepts, and the two promise to marry each other one day. As they walk, they dream about the future. A cozy wooden house with a fireplace, an attic, a garden full of fruit trees, and a bed beside the window where they could watch the world together every morning. As long as they were together, they were happy. Later, they meet an old man who asks where they're going. "We're just moving forward," they reply. Confused, the old man asks why. The boy simply answers, "Because we've always kept moving forward." When the children ask what he's waiting for, the old man can't answer. He begins questioning himself, as if he'd forgotten the reason he was there. Sensing something was wrong, the boy takes the girl's hand, and they continue on their way. Days turn into weeks. They walk through rain and sunshine, argue and make up, rest when they're tired, admire windmills, play in the water, watch birds, and enjoy beautiful sunsets. Hand in hand, they keep moving forward, wishing those peaceful days would never end. But one day, they finally reach the end of the road. The two reach the end of the road. Without saying a word, they hold hands and follow a narrow path into the forest. Even that path slowly begins to disappear, but the boy reassures her that they'll keep moving forward no matter what. Soon, they come across another boy and girl just like them. Frightened, both boys immediately aim their guns at each other. Neither understands the other's language, and both are too scared to trust. As they argue, the two girls step in and gently lower their weapons, convincing them that everything is all right. For a brief moment, it feels like there's still hope left in the world. But then a missile explodes nearby. Startled by the blast, both boys instinctively pull the trigger. When the smoke clears, the boy sees the girl beside him collapse, bleeding from the gunshot. She's dead. At the same time, the other girl, unable to bear the loss, turns the gun on herself. In an instant, all three are gone. The boy sits there in complete silence, his hands covered in the girl's blood. His mind goes numb. Eventually, he stands up and continues walking alone, carrying nothing but her memories. He finally reaches the ocean. Looking at the blood on his hands, he remembers losing his mother, and now the girl he loved. For the first time since the war began, he breaks down crying. After mourning everything he has lost, He gets back on his feet and continues walking along the shore until he collapses from exhaustion. When he opens his eyes again, soldiers are checking on him. He realizes they've been rescuing survivors all along. And with that, the story leaves us with a final thought. Everything in this world is temporary. Years pass and the boy grows into an old man. He settles near the same beach, living in a small wooden house built exactly as he and the girl once dreamed. A fireplace, a bed beside the window, and a peaceful view of the sea. His days become a routine. He catches fish, watches the waves come and go, and quietly grows older. As the years pass, he reflects on his life. His mother, the girl he loved, the war, the people he fought beside, and everyone he watched come and go. Life continues, but death always follows. Even after all these years, he still feels like the frightened boy lost in darkness. One day, while heading out to fish, he notices fresh footprints leading into the forest. Taking his gun, he follows them and discovers a beautiful home hidden among the trees, complete with a tent, a swing, and a carefully maintained garden. Realizing someone lives there, he cautiously raises his weapon. A young couple steps out. The boy has lost an arm, and the girl has lost an eye, but they're holding each other's hands. The sight reminds the old man of the two children whose lives were destroyed by the war, and of the girl he loved. Slowly, he lowers his gun. After quietly apologizing, he turns around and walks away, leaving the confused couple behind. One day, as the old man prepares his fishing net, the young couple approaches and offers him food. He refuses and walks away. Realizing they don't speak the same language, the girl eats some of the food herself to show it's safe before offering it again. Even then, the old man quietly leaves. Later that night, he can't stop thinking about the couple holding hands. It reminds him of the girl he once loved, and the memories leave him coughing up blood. The next morning, he finds fruit and his fishing net waiting outside his door. The couple had left them there. Wanting to repay their kindness, he catches several fish and brings them a basket full of food. The girl happily hugs him, while the boy proudly shows him a drawing he made. The old man praises his talent, but realizes he can no longer remember the faces of his own mother, or the girl he loved. Before he leaves, the girl places a flower wreath around his neck. Expecting him to reject it, the young man is surprised when the old man accepts it with a smile, saying he doesn't hate flowers. From then on, the couple visits him almost every day. At first, he greets them with a gun in hand. Soon, he no longer feels the need. They begin sharing meals, playing games, drawing together, and slowly learning each other's language. For the first time in years, the old man starts opening his heart again. One day, the couple finds a dying man and brings him back. Terrified, the man says he's afraid to die. The girl gently comforts him, telling him everything will be all right. He passes away peacefully in her arms. Together, the three bury him. Watching the grave, the old man remembers the words he had carried all his life. Everything is meaningless. Sitting alone in his house, the old man reflects on everything he has witnessed throughout his life. He questions whether life has any meaning at all. Waves keep coming and going, people are born, people die, and the world never stops moving. As he shares his story with the young couple, he tells them that when he was young, he believed they could keep moving forward forever. The young man quietly admits that he's afraid. He knows everything eventually comes to an end, even pain and hatred. One day, he and the woman he loves will also be separated. But despite that fear, he chooses to believe in the love they share. The old man listens and replies that he hopes the young man's faith doesn't turn out to be meaningless. Later, alone in his room, the old man falls into despair. He convinces himself that humans are nothing more than flesh and memories, that when the body stops working, a person's existence simply disappears. Looking at an old photograph, the last trace of his past, he feels himself sinking back into darkness. Meanwhile, the young couple walks along the beach, and the woman reveals she's pregnant. The young man admits he was terrified at first. He feared bringing a child into such a cruel world, knowing their child would experience pain, loss, and suffering. But the moment he realized a new life was growing inside her, everything changed. For the first time in years, he felt warmth, hope, and overwhelming love. Smiling at each other, they both say, "I love you." Suddenly, a massive wave crashes over them, sweeping the young man out to sea. The woman screams for help. Hearing her cries, the old man rushes to the shore. At first, he tells himself this is simply fate, that all anyone can do is cry until there are no tears left. But then he remembers everyone he has lost, and realizes he can never accept that answer. Without another thought, he dives into the ocean to save the young man. Deep beneath the water, surrounded by darkness, he finally reaches him. But as he tries to swim back, he loses all sense of direction. Once again, he's trapped in the same darkness that haunted him his entire life. Then, a light appears. The war is over. The darkness gives way to hope, symbolized by the light of Christ overcoming evil. Drawn toward that light, the old man regains faith, not in death, but in love. As he swims toward the surface, he emerges into the sunrise. For the first time in his life, his world is filled with light. Sometime later, the young couple has a daughter. The old man becomes like a grandfather to her, and the two spend their days exploring the beach together. The curious little girl asks him innocent questions about the world: why the sky is blue, why the waves come and go, and whether the earth really spins. Instead of giving scientific answers, he responds with playful stories, making her laugh as they spin around together until they fall over. One day, they discover a stranded whale. The girl asks if it's going to die. The old man sadly says they can't save it, but tells her to give it one last hug and say goodbye. He assures her that they'll meet again someday. Comforted by his words, they gently embrace the whale before heading home. The little girl excitedly tells her parents how much fun she had with Grandpa, and the young couple thanks him for everything. Watching the happy family, the old man realizes he has finally found the warmth he spent his entire life searching for. His painful journey taught him that even after endless loss, life can still be filled with love. One day, he heads out alone to catch fish. The couple reminds him to stay safe and come back even if he catches nothing. Smiling, he promises that he will. As he sails across the calm sea, he reaches the horizon. For the first time, he no longer sees darkness, only light. He raises his hand toward the sky, and in his final vision, Christ reaches out and takes it. The story ends with the image of the boy and the girl, hand in hand once again, together forever.